You hear that? That's what good news sounds like. Now, as you can hear, the mighty V8 is running once again, which is more than can be said in my previous video. Shit. Now, in my previous video, you saw me fit a new starter motor to the R8, and well, I didn't exactly have the best of luck. Now, what actually happened to the R8 and why wouldn't it start? Now, what actually happened, and I'd kind of done a bit of research after I'd filmed that video, because I'm not a mechanic and I certainly have never experienced this issue before. Now, what had happened is the oil separator had failed, which meant oil was kind of sucked into the intake and the car had hydrolocked. I kind of had a suspicion of this again once I'd researched it after I filmed the video. But as you can see, the car is back, and as you can hear, the car is running once again thanks to the guys at Quorn Sports and Classics. So what had essentially happened is the oil separator located around here had failed, and it had sucked loads of oil into the inlet. They pretty much found that issue straight away. As soon as they took the throttle bodies off, there was oil inside there, and of course there shouldn't be. And also when they took the plugs out, there was oil kind of squirting out of the side, which isn't ideal. Oil definitely doesn't live in there. So the car had hydrolocked itself, which obviously is the reason it wouldn't start. But also when I took the old starter motor out of the car, that had also gone as well. So I think trying to crank the car with effectively a seized engine had burnt out the starter motor. So at least it's got a new starter motor, and I didn't install it for absolutely no reason at all. So the oil separator was relatively an easy fix, especially for the guys down at Quorn Sports and Classics, and they were very quick to diagnose the problem and get it rectified. But of course, with these things, once you take your car to a specialist or get it inspected, you start finding and uncovering a series of other problems, which I also had addressed with the car, which has proven to be quite expensive. But when a car looks this good, I'm not really that bothered. So let me run you through what Sports and Classics have actually been up to. Now, the only thing I've actually spent money on that you can see are the brakes. Yes. The brakes were rather corroded and scored, and they look absolutely fantastic. So all new discs and pads all the way around, which wasn't cheap. And I have also rectified the R8 sticker problem. So before, they had the kind of newer style with the red square over the R8 badge, which I personally didn't like, especially at the back, because they were too big for the caliper. So I've kind of gone for the OEM look for this kind of generation of cars. So I've gone with white R8 stickers with like a grey outer, and the guys at Quorn also polished the faces of the calipers up just to make them look ever so slightly fresher. So they are looking so fresh when you look behind the wheels. I'm just so happy with that. I also had the guys down at Quorn change the front brake flexi pipe hoses, as they were an advisory on last year's MOT. So I thought I might as well get that done as well. So new brake pipes, brake fluid change, oil service, all new spark plugs, because due to the hydrolock, the old spark plugs were all drenched in oil. So 8 new spark plugs, oil and filter change, new brake pipes at the front, aircon regas. So in total, I've had a oil cooler separator, all new oil and oil filter, all new spark plugs, new discs and pads all the way around, new front brake pipes and flexi hoses, along with an aircon regas and a brake fluid change, obviously when they done the hoses. Now, this build didn't come cheap. However, when you've got a car like this, you can't really scrimp out, and if these things need doing, you've got to pretty much do them straight away. And it kind of seems that this car's had a bit of a hard life, despite what previous owners have been telling me and how much they've loved the car. That may be the case, but from what we found underneath the car, it's not entirely accurate. And if they did, they weren't exactly using OEM or good quality parts, or maybe they were just leaving them. But I hope to like kind of nurse this car back into health, and from my ownership it will be loved for, and some of the things that need doing will need doing, like the brakes and like corroded hoses and things like that. Now, there is another issue which unfortunately the guys didn't have time to fix, but I may attempt to do it myself, and that is the dreaded and kind of quite common around this kind of mileage, the oil cooler and the oil return pipe is leaking. So I may attempt that myself. I need to get some price on some parts, but once they are changed, The car is pretty much mechanically sound. I have actually ordered something to spice the car up as well, but that will be coming in a future video, so I'm very, very excited for that. It's essentially more carbon fibre, but for wear. So there we have it then, guys. I just wanted to make a quick video essentially explaining what was wrong with the R8. Obviously, I couldn't just leave you all hanging there, but it is really good to see the car back. And I swear, when I picked it up from K1 Sports and Classics, I was more excited than the day I bought the car. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I hadn't driven it for a month and I knew exactly what to expect. I was just so excited to get back in my car, and especially to hear that exhaust. And I haven't been able to keep out of it, to be honest. I just absolutely love this thing, and I cannot wait to start putting some proper miles on it once it is 100% mechanically sound. But there we have it then, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope you are all happy to see the R8, and thankfully it is wasn't a big deal with regards to the engine. I was severely worried that the engine was seized, and the guys at K1 said if I had been driving the car when the hydrolock had happened, I could well have blew a hole in the side of the block of the engine and bent all the cam rods and camshafts and all that mechanical stuff, which all I can hear is just replacement engine rebuild, and a really big expense, which of course I do not need after my traumatic experience with my red R8. But I'm just so over the moon that it wasn't any of those things, and the car is back on the road. And it was actually a relatively and cheap-ish fix. The fix was cheap, it's just all the other bits I replaced wasn't cheap, like the brakes. But anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and of course, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future upcoming videos with the R8, as well as many adventures that I plan on taking the car on. Thank you once again for watching, guys. Thank you as always for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.
Love and try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment for